Hey, yo, we just searched up the hardest words in the dictionary, man. Frak, can you freestyle to him?
I'll give it a try, man.
All right, let's do it. So we got Worcestershire, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
Onomatopoeia.
onomatopoeia phenomenon, sesquipedalian, Davy Jones, Morgue, and Neighborhood Heroes.
Man, this man can't even say it and he expects me to rap it. All right, let's give it a try, man. Drop the beat.
Let's do it.
Hey. Go off, go off. It's Frak. Hey, came through and you know I got verses, sir. Yeah, we talking hip hop is getting worse for her. I feel like Wembenyama, I'm the first to spur. And you know I got the sauce like Worcestershire. Ooh, yeah, you know I rap the dopest. That supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Come on, when I rap, they gotta see ya. I'm an animal making sounds as onomatopoeia. Ooh, and I got it on. You know I'm saying Mazel Tov. When I rap, they telling me this shit is a phenomenon. This a shot in the foot like Meg the Stallion. I'm long-winded, calling me a sesquipedalian. Hey, I'm not gaming like Game of Thrones, but I'm never ghosting y'all, baby. I'm not Davy Jones. Oh, and you know I go to war with it, putting these rappers in the more. Call me the mortician. Ooh, getting money like Rob De Niro. I went from a zero to a neighborhood hero. It's Frak.
Go crazy. Yeah. Bro, I'm finna be playing this like for a year, bro. Yo, man, I'm here with one of the greatest rappers out of the Bay Area, man. Frak, how are you doing, man?
What's poppin', man? Thanks for having me.
It's all love, bro. You're a genuine guy. Like you came in here, started chopping it up, bro. It's all fun, bro. All giggles and shit. But yeah, bro, we're here to talk about you because I believe you have a story. I believe you're doing a lot through rap, and I think, you know, if you're a fan of rap, bro, you gotta know who Frak is, you know?
Damn, I appreciate that. It's cool. I feel like I'm trying to pave a path for myself in hip-hop, and I feel like the Bay Area has been a big part of that, you know what I'm saying? And the battle rap community has been a big part of that. I'm kind of touching all these subcultures, but I still feel like there's still such a far way to go, you know? So I appreciate you saying that, but the job's not done.
Yeah, man. No, it definitely isn't. And, you know, we were talking some stuff off camera, and I'm really excited for your career, bro. I really am. Let's talk about, like, where you came from, bro, because, you know, you're obviously, I hate to say it, but there's a reason why Eminem always stood out, right? Mm-hmm. There's, like, you know, you're not your average quote-unquote rapper or whatever, but I think that's what kind of
Are you calling me white? How dare
nah,
you?
I was gonna say Caucasian, but
thank you. Nah, don't use the hard AN. I'm just.
But yeah, bro. I think my point is, I think that's what kind of gives you the sauce, bro. It's like, you know, makes it extra saucy or whatever. But yeah, bro. Where are you from?
From San Francisco, California. Yeah.
Born and raised in San Francisco.
Born and raised, yep.
You know, I barely know anyone who's like born and raised in San Francisco. So yeah. How was that for you?
They call us unicorns now because everyone who's in the city is, you know, a transplant mostly. So the fact that we're still here. But you know what? Since the pandemic, there's a comeback, I feel like. There's like a resurgence of like creativity and art in the Bay Area. I think coming a lot from the people who were raised here coming home. And like I'm part of a group now called Family Not a Group. And FNG, they throw a lot of shows around the city. And I feel like a lot of artists are trying to build back and like be like, this is our city. And it's like hard to economically carve a path here because there's not much of a music industry. And you kind of, you know, the Bay Area is like, you've always kind of had to be a trendsetter and get it yourself and like hustle, kind of like E40 always talked about it. Like the independent route is like what everyone in the Bay has to be doing. But in the city, especially where like the industry is tech and finance and all these other things, it's like I feel like there's a few artists left in the city and more coming back trying to carry the burden of like keeping the culture and art scene and nightlife alive. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I definitely see that. And, you know, we were kind of naming off some artists a little bit ago, but, you know, you definitely had like your Big Rich, you know, at one point was like really holding it down. Yeah. And speaking of, would you say he kind of like helped your career out by?
Oh yeah, shout out Big Rich. We're actually like potentially working on something so we can work together again. But he was probably the first rapper who like showed love to me. Like when I started rapping, I was like part of this organization called Youth Speaks, and it's like kind of a spoken word poetry organization, and they started doing rap Olympics for kids. So when I was like 14, 15, I was rapping in the rap Olympics, and Big Rich was a judge, and Zumbi of Zionai was a judge, rest in peace. Two figures of the Bay who super different, but both ended up being like big role models, and people who like were beacons of light to show me how to maneuver and stuff like that. But Big Rich met me there, and I started fucking with him. I started fucking with Zumbi of Zionai. It's like that was like my first time being outside and experiencing like the real hip hop scene in the Bay Area, navigating that.
So what like made you be like, yo, I'm gonna be a rapper? Like, cause you know, like I said, bro, it wasn't in your background, right? Cause where's your family from? Like, where you actually from?
My mom's from Peru, and my dad's from Hungary. They're both immigrants, but have lived in the Bay for a couple of decades by the time I was born. But yeah, they both don't have hip hop background. My mom was an artist, so I think a lot of the creativity came from her. Like I always saw her trying to, you know, against all odds, try and make her artistic, creative life work and like finagle ways to get paid for it.
Was that out here in like in Peru?
Both, but yeah, mostly out in the Bay. She's a dope printmaker. Check out her art.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, she's she was a big help, and just like, yeah, just I think I was always good with words, you know. So like, and I loved music and hip hop. When I discovered hip hop, I was like, it's the perfect marriage between like wordplay and a love of language and like flipping metaphors and wordplay and all these things. Then also like music and rhythm and melody and all these other things. And it's like the two combined in a very effortless way. And once I like was outside discovering it was just an amazing culture too. Like it was a culture that embraced me and taught me a lot about life, you know? So
yeah. So when did you kind of start seeing this like actually become a reality for you?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think when I started winning those youth rap competitions at like 15, 16, like I was still super corny and trash. like I was like this rapper Cali J, who y'all should have on, a really dope rapper from Frisco. Me and him were in a rap group called For Real. It was like the number For Real. But there was 3 of us, but the 4th member was the music. And we were like hella fake deep and like making like conscious raps before we knew anything about the world, you know? But like then I started doing the competitions and getting validated for my skills, even though I was like my content wasn't there. But it really became a reality to me. Shit, I don't know if it is at all. Like it's like still, if you still feel, sometimes I gotta it's hard to take for granted, but like, you know, it's hard to even imagine that this is a reality and that I'm living my dreams. I think because it is so hard sometimes to make it work, or it has been in the past, that I don't take for granted. Like I am doing like this hip hop shit full time and it's beautiful. So I guess the answer is I'm still like uncovering that feeling, you know?
Yeah, man. Do you think more people should just follow that idea of just following, you know, keep working at something that like eventually you'll become good at, and then like you said, make it a full time?
Nah. Well, here's my thing, bro. It's like I feel like a lot of rappers say this and musicians and celebrities, they tell all their fans like, bro, just follow your dreams, you can make it happen. And like I never want to be that guy, because the reality is you won't, and that's not your fault. That's the fault of this capitalist world we live in, where your value is determined by your monetary gain and your labor, and it's so hard to follow your dreams. Like it's just so hard. But what I will say is there's no more freeing feeling than be able to do what you love and being like aligned with the shit you love, you know what I mean? And I think even without quitting your job and doing something rash, like I think every human has the capability to be aligned and do what they love. And even if it's just a couple hours a day, you know, just like following your passions and following like what brings you joy, and not letting like the monetary aspect of it like control you, not being like, I need to make money on this, but really just doing it for the love and seeing where that feeling takes you, I think is the call.
Why do you think people hold such a strong value towards money? Do you think it's literally because we live in a capitalist country, or do you think it's like deeper than that?
Yeah, I think it's like, it's a good question because sometimes I feel like we put the weight on individuals that really belong on systems, right? It's like, why are you so focused on money? It's not the person's fault. It's the air we breathe, right? It's like this society we live in. It's like, of course everyone's obsessed with it because it's from the day we were born. Those are the values we were taught. It's the way to live. It's the way to pay rent and eat. And then it's also like, if you, particularly if you come from poverty, you know, it's like what you aspire to do. It's like what seems like freedom. But I don't think that's the individual's fault. I feel like that's the system. And that's the, you know, it's like what everyone grows up in. So it's like, I'm never going to hate on someone for like being a hustler, getting money, whatever, by whatever it means, because it's like, that's what we were taught. That's since we were in school, that's what pop culture teaches us, money, like whatever. But I do feel like there are other ways to define like joy and like success that aren't monetary. You know what I'm saying?
What are those? Because I you know, I hate to say it, but most people, when they think success,
right,
first thing they think about, oh, they got money.
Right.
So what are those other values?
How about laughter for one? You know,
Okay.
I'm monetizing my laughter right now. I'm counting it up. How many laughs a day am I doing? I got a Fitbit for my but I'm serious.
Nah,
like,
I feel, yeah.
Like that type of shit. Like community, right? Like we think a lot about community in terms of family, but it's like, that's another beautiful thing about hip hop and, you know, all types of communities. It's like churches and, you know, temples and everything. It's like having a community that you rely on and have awesome good times with and fucking eating good food. It's like, unfortunately, so much of this stuff is tied to money. But I think especially as a creator, people get really focused on the only way I can succeed is if I get rich. And I think that if you really meet full-time creators who are doing it, it's like there's not a lot of money in it. You got to believe in it and you got to love it. You know, battle rappers, like it's kind of an industry now, but it's like all these fools, the amount of work we put into battles, you're not getting properly compensated for your time. You got to love it. You know, same with all these independent musicians popping off from the Bay and all types of shit. Is like you got to value the love and the art of it more than it is for the gain of it. Right.
And I think we usually go into things thinking like, this is what we are going to get out of it, you know, or like, excuse me, even like a business, you know, I think I consider this a business in a way. I don't, like it's my creation or whatever. But I think, yeah, I didn't go in this like thinking, man, I'm going to make this amount of money. And I think
so let me flip my question on you, your question on me, on you. Mm-hmm. What is the joy, or what do you get out of it? What makes you feel like a success with this particular podcast, if not for the money?
Damn, thank you for asking that, because I was thinking about the other day. I think it's just the experiences, bro. It really is. Like the fact that I'm able to sit here and you've touched the people that you've touched, you've gone through experiences you've gone through, and I can ask you anything for an hour at least. Like that is priceless to me. Like, right. You know what I'm saying? I think people, that's usually why they try to get away. Just to kind of like find different experiences. Right. But I'm able to like literally have them in the back of my house type thing. Right. So like, that's the way, you know, I love doing this shit. And that's why, you know, I consider this a success, because I'm able to have the homies in here and like make this function. Like, I don't know, it's like an energy type of thing for me.
Yeah. And you get to get all these gems. Like that's the one I didn't say, like experiences, I think is a good one. Like you get to get all these gems and memories from other people's life experience and work them into your own life. Like I think that's hella valuable.
Yeah, and I think the world is shaped, and, you know, maybe you could talk about your side of storytelling, but I think, you know, Kobe said it one day. He's like, if you're trying to change the world, if you're trying to do something, do it through telling stories, right? Because that's what the Bible is, right? Like, we don't have no, like, actual hardcore evidence. It's all stories.
Right,
you know?
right,
so,
right.
Yeah, let's talk about how you got into storytelling and how you're so good with your words and why you're so good with the words. Because I think that's just a phenomenal trait to have, bro.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's blowing my mind a little bit, because if you think about it, music and hip hop in particular, like it is storytelling at the end of the day. It's like I think Kanye used to say this shit, but he's like, there was a Bible right now, I'd be one of the 10 characters in the Bible, right, in the modern day. And he's just ego tripping. But the bottom of what he's saying is like basically like pop culture, music, movies, writers, we're like writing the stories and giving lessons to people in the same way. Whatever the Bible did back then, whatever Shakespeare did back then, you know, that hip hop in particular, there's so much storytelling, so many people talking about their neighborhood, their hero, they're being the hero of their neighborhood, right? And whatever they come from. And you can like, I listen to Detroit rap and I learn hella shit about Detroit. You know what I mean? Detroit I listen to fucking UK grime rap and I'm like learning hella slang about the UK. It's like you can actually learn about people's cultures and stories, and I think that's something that I love to be able to do, whether it's in battles or music, is be able to like shed light on my experiences and stories and opinions and all that using the art form.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. So that's what I'm saying, bro. I think you being a storyteller is a lot bigger than, you know, sometimes we may even, you know, but yeah, man, I think, you know, being good with wordplay is always going to come in, right? Because not only, like you were talking about earlier, right? You're an independent artist, so you have to, like, put yourself through doors and, like, get in front of people.
Right.
Have you, like, noticed that it's kind of, like, been helping you out for that?
What?
Just like being real good with your words, bro. Because I think it's really all about how you say something. You get what I'm saying? Like,
right. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely probably my superpower, right? Is like thinking on my feet and like incorporating that into the freestyling. But like, I like me and my girl, like sometimes we go like when she's anxious and like we're about to go out, we'll like freestyle in the car together. And like she's pretty shy, but she'll give me a couple bars, she'll give me a hook, and it'll make her feel like better and more confident going into a given situation. And I think that's what freestyling does for me in general, is like I feel like in any situation, I feel like I have this, like being able to rhyme words on the spot has now empowered me to like think of other shit on the spot, argue, have conversations, communicate empathetically and convince a friend of something. You know what I mean? Like all of that shit is like, life is freestyling, right? It's like you gotta like think on your feet and make quick decisions. So that's definitely
and I think that's honestly, bro, I think that's why I'm such a big fan of rap, because it's like I always say I love rap, but I don't think I could do it type thing. Like it's not only like a creative thing.
I wish all of hip hop fans said that, because every single fan, even no matter how trash, they're like, I can do it too, you know. And then they're like, oh shit.
Nah, yeah, it's
bro,
just
not even
art,
AI can do it, bro. They have AI rapping.
How do you feel about that? Yeah, the new Drake songs and all that shit.
Well, that shit is different because people are saying it's AI, but someone writes it and then they add the AI filter, which is crazy, which is like some Uncanny Valley shit.
Yeah.
Which is going to be the name of my next album, by the way, Uncanny Valley. We could talk about that later.
Come on, yeah, let's talk about
it. but really, like, the actual writing of those songs are someone just imitating Drake. Whereas, like, when AI, like, tries to actually rap, it's very cat in the hat still. Like, it's like, I went to the store and I did this thing and I'm not a bore. You know, it's like they still only get, like, the end rhymes. And AI can do a lot. Like it's doing this complex artwork, but it still doesn't get the nuances of hip hop. And it made me think, like, people try and clown on rap for being this like simple genre compared to other shit. They're like, oh, you know, hip hop's like, you know, it's just a bunch of people rapping about money and hoes. But it's like AI can probably regenerate your EDM or punk rock song. Yeah. Maybe not punk rock, but it's not able to do hip hop because there's so many nuances in the rhyming, flow pocket, storytelling, like slant rhyme, like all these like things, like bars and wordplay and double entendres that like not even a robot can figure out yet.
Yeah. My bad. I just really wanted to ask you about this, bro, because do you know who Gary Vee is?
Yes.
Okay, cool, man. That's my boy, man. That's
people say I look like him on TikTok. They're like, Gary Vee spitting. I'm like, damn, that fool's like 50.
Nah, but the reason why, okay, so I seen you created a animation, bro, and I think that's just I think that is because it kind of ties into the AI, right? Like, where the transition of just going from you being in front of a mic, but still being able to be effective with your, with your freestyle. So he talks about just being very diverse with your content, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he even started his own animation, or I know he kind of animated himself. I just remember listening to
he
one
might
of
have done like NFT or some shit like that.
I know he did that, but I remember like listening to one of his conference calls and he was saying how like he's just trying to jump into every type of content creation, and one of them is for sure going to be like cartoon.
Oh, cool.
You know, some type of animated work. So what was the idea behind you doing that Trump skit and, you know, doing it animated and stuff like that?
Well, I got to give props to my boy Ilmac, who's a battle rapper from Portland. And he started the rap cartoon with this ketchup versus mustard rap battle. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like super viral online, but it's like ketchup and mustard battle.
You know what? I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he did dog versus cat, and he brought me on the team. And then we also got hired, bro. This is hilarious. Like this billionaire hired us basically during the 2020 election or before the 2020 election to persuade voters to vote against Trump. Because there was so many donors paying for Trump to win. This guy was like, I want to like put money against it. And one of the ways he was trying to do it was with rap cartoons. Like he wanted to do some type of hip hop content to convince people not to vote for Trump. So we got hired to like make cartoons, like fucking deep state cartoons. And like we had like a whole team like researching like the most effective ways to communicate, what points would hit with swing voters. Like it was a crazy shit. But
how did you guys meet this guy, or is it just coincidental?
One of the people I work with from this company, Rhyme Combinator, is connected with this guy. I don't know how, through the tech Bay Area world, but we started doing those Trump cartoons then, and then since then we actually have written our own pilot for our own cartoon that we're now like pitching to different companies, which has been a tough but awesome process.
Can we talk about that process? Because I don't think we've ever had anyone talk about from actually you're essentially getting investors, right?
Nah, that's another option which we're thinking of looking into. We're actually about to start a Patreon, so we're gonna get like investors from our fans, because we have like, if you guys want to check out what we're talking about, it's at Rap Off Battles. We're about to hit 200,000 followers on IG, just posting these like viral rap cartoons. But animation's super expensive, so we can only do like one a year. But what we're aiming to do is have a Patreon so our fans can support us, and then we can make regular content. And in the meantime, also pitching like Sony's and Fox's and Adult Swims and stuff like that, trying to get a cartoon on the air, which has been crazy timing because it's like the writer's strike and everything is like the worst time to pitch ever. So we keep getting a lot of like, yes, but not right now.
You said the what is the writer's
strike? There's like a writer's strike in Hollywood.
Going on right now?
Yeah, still going on. They still haven't settled it. It's been months now.
What is that all about? Just people not getting paid for what?
Yeah, the writers in Hollywood are not getting compensated fairly compared to like how much the billionaires and producers are making off shit, so they all striked. And as a result, like there's going to be a lot less content that comes out in the next coming years, I think.
From these big companies.
Yeah. And it's everything, you know, it's like.
But doesn't that open up doors for people?
It's true. It does open up doors, but it's also like, that's like, I think it's called being a scab, like crossing the picket line, basically. Because I want to like, we also want to support the writer's strike because they deserve.
Right.
So,
okay, so what you're saying.
It's hard to get people to cross that picket line and be like, no, we'll work with y'all instead.
What I'm saying is like, instead of having these, because it sounds like you're saying these big corporations that you're going to, you know, they're on hold.
Right.
So then there's a big old
right for
hole.
Independent creators.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's definitely something we're taking note of. Is like what you're talking about, investors and us starting a Patreon. It's like there's also a world where we do this shit ourselves. You know, we get people who believe in the concept. We get our fans to fund us, and we just like make a show happen ourselves. And I think that's what, you know, the NFT market was for a while, was creators trying to do that, but a lot of people were in that shit for the wrong reasons, as people saw.
Yeah.
So now we got to try it different ways, but I think it's something you're probably going to be seeing a lot more of, is independent creators trying to make their own wiggle with it, you know?
Do you see a benefit to that?
Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, it's still based on who has the money. Right. So it's like, even if you try and skirt around these major corporations, you still need. Well, I mean, I guess Patreon, you know what Patreon is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an example of skirting around that in a way, because it's like powered by the people. It's like how Bernie Sanders didn't have one donor. He had a bunch of people donating
Brought
like
up
$10.
Bernie
You know what I mean? Yeah, it was like, so it was like the Cuddy Power people GoFundMe style.
Yeah.
Like maybe that is the future. So, but it's hard when everyone's broke.
Yeah, and I think I just think we're in a weird place right now. I really do, because I posted something on my story yesterday that said something along the lines of community is the new corporations.
Ooh.
And I don't know.
I
just
with that.
And I think it just stands out to me, bro, because you look at local, you see what Stunna Man is doing, you see what La Russell's doing, right?
Yeah.
You see
La Russell is a perfect example of all this shit, bro. He skirted the industry. He skirted the major labels. He said, I'm gonna build it myself. I'm gonna do everything in my backyard. I'm gonna have my own people filming it. I'm gonna have my own fans have ownership over the music. And that was inspiring to me for sure, coming up in the Bay, seeing what he's doing, because he's holding the own power in his music, and he's able to follow his own path in that way. Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm saying. I think because you start seeing more of him, because I think people are gonna, eventually start replicating his, not exactly like replicating his system, but understanding it and understanding that, like, hold on, like, you can do this on your own if you really like just work at it. You know what I'm saying? And obviously he has like that certain the thing that geniuses have, because I believe he is a genius, bro, because he's been able to like literally do something. Because I literally I watched the Kanye documentary, and it's just so hard for me not to like think of La Russell.
Yeah.
Simply because it's just like, my guy has built this from the ground up. Like, till this day, he will decline a deal if he doesn't feel like it's just his. Or, it's just, I don't know, bro. I just think he's just moving way different. That a lot of people want to move like that, but he's actually doing it,
Right. Yeah, that's like one of those things too, is like, we were talking about in like system versus individual, right? Like, I understand why all the other rappers are taking the money. Like, if they're coming from the hood, if they're coming from their situation and they want to take the money from a major label, like, all power to them. I'm not hating on them. But it takes an individual like La Russell to skirt the system in a way to show people that there's a blueprint for a different way that I think can inspire like a more systematic community change, where you see more people trying it, and then the industry is going to have to change the way they move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if you want to take it one level up, we could talk about Nipsey, man. Like, a lot of what he did was proud to pay. So like, it was whatever you want to pay, essentially. But he kind of worded it in that way. And Nipsey, he did it big, and the thing that sucks, bro, is he just was so young when he passed away. So it's like, man, how much more could he have built? Because that's one of my like biggest role models. But yeah, I mean, I think the independent route, it seems like we talk about it a lot on here, but I just think it's like, I was thinking about it today driving over here. I was like, man, social media alone just changed the world, obviously. So now you got to change your government too. So like a lot of these laws and shit like that, they had to adjust, and they, let's say not all of them have yet, but I just think we're just in a whole different world than we were like from the 1900s, bro. It's just like, now you can actually build $1 million company from your own house.
Right.
Like, I don't think people realize how crazy that is. Like, back in the day, like 1900s, bro, what the fuck? Like, what? I don't know, man. Do you believe in aliens? I don't know. I just feel like we can have a good conversation about that.
Do I believe aliens exist? Like, do I believe humans have already discovered aliens, or do I think they exist, period?
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, I think most people believe they already exist. So maybe the second one. How do you think we discovered them already? But
nah, I'm not. See, I can get conspiratorial, but for me, some shit is just like, people are just be saying shit. Like, people are searching for like straws, searching for shit in terms of like, the government knows about them and they're hiding for us, and District 6 of Roswell. Like, you can miss me with that, but do they exist? Period, in the universe? Like, it's gotta be, bro.
Yeah,
like, come on, like honestly. There's something called the is it Faraday paradox, something like that. but it's basically stating that we're young, right? The earth is young and humans are young. Like, we're young on the earth. We're such a baby species compared to how long the universe has existed, which is infinite time. So you don't think that in that infinite time, there's been evolved a creature so evolved that they already know we exist? That's one perspective to look at it. Like, are aliens out there and they know we exist? Or
I think they do.
Are we so premature? Are we such baby species that we haven't even made a blip on whatever aliens' radar? Right?
That makes sense.
We're such baby species. We're just doing our little radio waves out to this. Like, we have no like mark on the universe yet. So there's probably some galactic council of all these aliens and shit that's still hidden from us because we haven't graduated.
We're just dumb, bro.
Yeah, we're just dumb. We're not there yet. Or the third thing could be that this Earth being where it is, having water on it, being this far from the sun, we're just in the perfect conditions for life, and that condition is so rare, that's so perfect for life to evolve, that there might be billions and billions and billions of years away where the next species is, and we may not find them for some time. But they gotta exist somewhere.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to believe that we're like the only life.
Or the fourth thing is that they're so advanced that we're just living in their little fucking simulation. They're watching us on, I think the South Park episode had this, where they're watching us on reality TV, laughing at us, like having fucking wars over oil and shit like that. They're like, look at these dumbass idiots. Like, look, the white ones are being mean to the black ones, idiots. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Figure your shit out. And they're just waiting for us to like be popping
self-destruct and shit. Yeah. Like, I mean, do you think that's where we're going? I think that's what we've been showing, bro. I don't know, like with all this AI shit and just the way we treat each other, bro, like on a human being level. Yeah, bro, but I just think we're going to self-destruct. I hate to say it.
It's crazy how long the earth has existed and how short humans have existed and how quick we fucked it up. Like, the earth has existed for so long, right? And then we came along and we created, like, humans have existed for hella time. It's only been like probably 0.1% of human existence that we brought industry into it. And in this short time, since whatever, the late 1800s where all this industrialization started, we've already fucked so much shit up. We're about to like fuck the ozone up and ruin it for all this whole thing. We just ruined the party. It's like, even though I think humans have this amazing thing where we're so evolved and we have consciousness and we have this beautiful thing that's like, I think that's amazing.
The only hope we have, bro. The consciousness, yes.
Yeah, but it's a gift and a curse because we use that beautiful gift we have to fuck the earth up, fuck our only home up. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's why, that's why I'm so big on like an awareness and just conscious awareness, if you want to put it together. And that's why, I think these things are important. And I think that's the universal currency of like us talking about this, and how many ever people see it. Obviously the goal is to kind of like put this in front of as many people's eyes as we can, but at the end of the day, like whoever sees it, that is the currency that we're receiving. At least we're able to open up that conscious at least a little bit. It's like, what, because obviously we're we let me talk about myself. Yeah, I definitely grew. Like I never was this version of Samuel, you know what I'm saying? Like there's definitely like the 12-year-old version of me, the 15, the 17-year-old.
Right.
So yeah, bro, I still have hope is what I'm saying. Like you could be at ground zero, but then you can get fed the right information, some can hit your spirit, you can change your environment, whatever it is, and I think there's hope for everyone.
Facts.
So yeah, I think that it is a double-sided coin, because I'm like, we are shifting on like, man, we've about to self-destruct, but like I said, I think I'm trying to at least play my part.
Hell yeah.
So what do you think like rap does for people, bro? Because I think that's also a major thing, right? Because you can create art, but I think when you're an artist, you kind of also worry about how people grab it, right?
Right.
So what do you think like your raps do for people?
Mine in particular?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been like thinking about my career, because it's like, I think my music is uplifting. My music is relatable and storytelling and uplifting. And then my battles, low key, I'd be like they're very destructive, right? Like I would like, well, fuck fools up.
Right.
But there's also an inspiring part about our app, right? Where you're kind of like putting everything out on the line. You're putting your whole self out there. It's like a very vulnerable thing, right? And you're trying to tear someone down, but using like wordplay and humor and like all these things that entertain people and bring people joy. And then there's also like the humorous side of me, like doing the skits and like freestyles and stuff like that, where I'm just trying to like make fun of shit, you know? And I often make fun of shit with like a bit of an edge of a deeper meaning, like, you know, making fun of like certain types of people that I feel like deserve to be roasted. And I feel like sometimes I'm able to communicate more with a joke than I am with like serious bars or like a serious poetic way of tackling it. Like I feel like, you know, making fun of like alt-right, you know, racist dudes with podcasts was easier to imitate them and make fun of them than it was to like make some type of like 16 bars killing them, you know what I mean? Like the power of satire. I think like humor and satire obviously are easy ways to digest information because you're laughing, but it's also sneaky ways to change people's opinions and get them to see your perspective.
Yeah. And I think it does take a certain amount to be able to do that. But yeah, that's the best, bro. When you can like be funny about shit, get your point across. Yeah, that's the people I like to be around.
Right.
Yeah, man. No, hold on. So yeah, can we talk a little bit about the process though? Like, how do you even reach out to these people? Like, do you come out
for cartoons?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, we had a lot of virality, so we were fortunate to have people reach out to us. And then other than that, it's been wild. Like, we're kind of a ragtag team of four. It's me, my boys, Ilmac, Passwords from Oakland, super dope rapper, and then my homie Bo, who works for Rhyme Combinator. And we basically decided to team up after the whole election shit once Trump lost and we did our job, you know, and then they kicked us to the curb. But you know, we unlocked them. We're the reason Trump's out of office, right? Exactly. Maybe they're gonna hit us up next time for the next election, so Trump doesn't win again.
Or Biden.
Yeah, for real. I mean, not much better, but
that's when you have Andres as president,
bro. But really the process has been like some guerrilla style shit, because usually people have agents and managers in Hollywood and get these meetings set up. But we're like 3 battle rappers and like one dude who's worked in the media a little bit, but he's been working on a musical. So we're mostly like very green to the area. So we're kind of like stepping into all these big networks and stuff like that kind of without much experience. But as a result, we've learned a lot about how to pitch a show and how to make moves in that world, which is a lot different than the music industry, a lot different than the battle rap industry. Is like making a show, you have to have a whole different type of value, you know, especially in animation where you got things like Rick and Morty and you know, South Park and all these things that have like a whole universe and merch and music around it. And that's kind of what we're aspiring to build, but for like rap cartoons and rap battle cartoons, you know.
Yeah. So do you see like a market there for you guys?
Hell yeah. I mean, hip hop's the fucking most influential culture in the world. Like, it's what everything is revolving around hip hop and the influence of it. And then you got cartoons, which is just such a amazing way to communicate. And for battle rap particular, like in my world, as you probably saw researching, it's like battle rap's a very insular world, right? It's like you kind of got to know the inside jokes. You got to know what a blicky is, and like all these like wordplay about things to understand it. But if you see a ketchup and a mustard bar battling, or like we did an advertisement for Kraft cheese. So if you see a piece of Kraft cheese battling a piece of Gouda cheese, you don't need any backstory. You just know that's dope. It's hilarious. And we could use the same things that make battle rap great, like the wordplay, the flow, the intensity, the two ideas being pitted against each other. Like we did Steph versus KD on TikTok, and that shit got like 10 million views just with our little eyes and mouth over Steph and KD's mouth. And it's like doing that type of shit. We did burrito versus sandwich. Like basically just pitting ideas against each other is inherently viral and a great way to communicate, but it's without all the super internalized inside jokes that you have to know to get battle rap. And I think there's a definite market for that because people love rap battles. They just need to have it in a like accessible way.
That makes sense. Now everything you just said, now it's starting to click. Yeah, there definitely is a market, especially with this whole social media thing, you know, like, cause right. I remember seeing that video with the one with Curry and KD, and I was like,
it's nice.
That shit was hella, cause I'm a, you know, cause that's the thing, even if you're not just a hip hop fanatic, you might be a sports fanatic, but now you just know this shit's dope, so you're gonna
and you know what the bars are about, you know what he's saying, you're not the GOAT, Curry, like Indian food. You're like, oh, because Curry's the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Exactly. So you just kind of meshing, you know, you're right. And I think that's what you're saying. Like hip hop is definitely very influential. Very influential. Have you ever like studied the history of hip hop? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I literally took a
read
class
like books.
For that.
Really?
Yeah. My college had a fucking shout out my boy. I think it was Anthony Francoso. He had a class called Hip Hop Incarceration where we learned, like, we literally got to work with people in jail. And like I was like freestyling with people in juvenile hall. And then we would like learn about the history of like hip hop and and like the way like the private prisons were built in the prison industrial complex. It was actually a crazy ass class. But yeah, I'm very studied in the fine art of hip hop for sure.
Yeah, no, honestly, that sounds like an interesting ass class because in a way you're actually rehabbing them, right? Because what would would you say this shit is like something that rehabs you? Like you just step away?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's tough to. I can't speak for them. You know, they're in a fucking prison, and that shit is far from rehabilitation. What goes on in there, but. What I can say for myself, and I worked as a teacher for a while for that organization, Youth Speaks, teaching freestyle and writing, songwriting and stuff like that. And hip hop is 100% like has a therapeutic element to it. Freestyling for sure, like being able to like get whatever is off on your chest and have the confidence to just unleash that energy for sure. And then songwriting and interpreting your world and your feelings and putting it into music is definitely something that is like a powerful tool to like unleash potential shit that could come out in more negative ways, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right. And it's funny, I just seen something today that said I think they're abolishing or they're getting rid of all the juvenile prisons in California.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Who said that?
I seen it on Thizzler.
My boy Gavin Newsom did that.
Oh yeah,
bro, I'd be embarrassed getting my news on Thizzler. I'm like, this is where I'm learning about this.
You know what? That's why I found it pretty like okay, but nah, I trust them boys until I don't. But.
I'm sure that's true, and that's dope that that's true.
So yeah, because you like actually working in there, you know, because you have all these stories on what it's supposed to do, but based off what you saw and experiences, was it rehabbing for these teenagers, these kids?
Nah, dude, it's like. This shit was like a fucking work camp, bro. Like they were fucking doing doing work for the state, bro. It was like, I don't want to say, it was like indentured servitude type shit, bro. It's like you're basically getting free labor out of these kids as punishment, and you're making money off them, and then you put them back on the street. And because they have a record, they're not going to be able to get any jobs. So you put them in a vicious cycle where they got to keep coming back to juvie. They now they're in the system. They keep going back to jail. You're not rehabbing these kids. You're branding them for life in a way that's like they're not going to be able to progress. And it was a bummer for sure just to see that.
I completely agree. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point for that reason because it's like a lot of these systems in place aren't even rehabbing somebody, because I remember I went to St. Quentin for a field trip, and they had told us that these prisoners, it was their privilege to go work. So it's like, hold on, you're putting that as their pedestal already. Like, okay, right. So of course they're gonna do a good job. Of course, and you're gonna pay them pennies to the dime, type shit. So they're not making any money. You're getting this good ass work, this good ass furniture, and you're probably gonna sell that shit for a bunch of money. So yeah, bro.
There's a crazy book called The New Jim Crow. I'm trying to remember the author, but I read it and it like changed my perspective on a lot of shit. And it's basically about how in the Jim Crow era, they instated prisons to basically continue the effects of slavery. and continue getting free labor out of black people and brown people. And that's fucked up, but it's there's the histories there, the facts are there. It's like we're basically continue, like when people say slavery was so long ago, like the effect is in it, blah, blah. It's like, nah, it's still, you can still see the effects of it on our communities through jail.
Literally, yeah. And like you said, it's just like a rat race. You're just in there, and it's hard to get out. Huh? Shout out our brown people, man.
Shout out all my brown folks.
Shout out Brown Bag Podcast, man. Shout out them. You know what that is, Andres? No. But damn, I was gonna say something. Now I'm just thinking about mi raza. Nah, I'm joking. What were we just talking about? No, the topic, bro.
Jail cartoons.
Okay, yeah. Damn. Anyways, bro. Oh yes, this is what I was thinking in my head. What are you working on next? Because I really want to,
Hell yeah, I'm working on.
I see your career on the upscale, so I definitely want to know what you got going on.
Yeah, working on a lot. I'm working on an album, which I'm gonna title Uncanny Valley. I don't want to say too much about it, but it's kind of a concept. It's like a concept record in the visual sense. Like all the music videos are gonna be tied together in a creative way. And the Uncanny Valley is like it's like a term to define like when things seem real, but it's uncomfortable to the eye because you can kind of tell it's not. Like kind of like how AI is, right? And I named it that before all this AI shit started happening. And then all this AI shit happened. I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. Even though it's not perfect in for the real world. But
right.
I'm working on that album. And then I'm working on this series I started called Foursquare. Y'all might have seen mine with Stunna Man, where we do 4 bars back and forth. It's like a 1-minute song. And I'm trying to get as many Bay Area and just artists from all over, just dope spitters, to do 4-bar back and forth with me. And I have a new one on the way. So we're doing a lot of those to just like keep the content coming. And then just working on these cartoons and skits and writing. I might start trying to do some stand-up comedy this year if I feel like I can.
Come on, yeah.
For sure gonna keep like the humorous element going and like building up my TikTok. I'm about to hit like 100,000 on there. Shout out my Gen Z bros over there.
Y'all the 100K club over here?
Y'all got 100K on TikTok?
He does.
What's your account? Oh, nice. You like do like gamer streaming type shit? Cool. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, no. So I'm excited for you, bro. I really am. We definitely gotta redo this, man. Not redo it, but add episode number 2.
He knows the exclusive info, man. I'm sorry I can't tell y'all, but he's.
It's okay, bro. Once you leave, I'll tell. Nah, yeah, bro. I appreciate you, bro. You're like I said, you're a smart guy, so it's always good to have a conversation with people who are intellectual.
Yeah, this wasn't what I was expecting, bro. We got super deep and existential in here. But it was fire.
Hey, man, when you come into the headquarters, you never know what you're gonna get, man. No, yeah, man, but yeah, I think it would be an honor, bro, just to see you do your craft, man, and just do what you love to do and do what you do, bro. So I think, we kind of spoke about it, and then we kind of decided we're gonna come up with some words. Or our homeboys over here, Alex and Andres, man, they're gonna come up with some words, and then we just gonna see, what you can kind of cook up, man.
Let's do it. Exclusive.
How you feeling, though? You feeling good? You feeling good for this freestyle?
Let's do it, man.
All right. If not, I got a joint back there. No,
we could do that too.